Going.
Killing it. Heartbeat. Boom, boom, breath. Whoosh. Watch me, I'm killing it. Woke up this morning, stepped in my shoes. Ain't nobody knows what these hoes been through. Miles in the pressure, pain in the stress. Still I can't clean the fire inside. Looked at myself and I had to say that light in my face is here to stay. Sky wide open, birds in flight. I see my future and it looks just right. Mind shift, headlock, eyes focused, can't stop. Go shiny, game on. I've been built for this all along. I'm killing it. I'm K-I-L-L-I-N-G. I'm reeling in it. That's why I'm killing it. Not just feeling it. Not just chilling it. I'm killing it. Right now. I'm on it. I'm about it. Say something if you doubt it. I'm killing it. Who the hell did you think I was? Who the hell did I forget I was? I remember who I am. I remember what I've done. I remember what me why is. I remember what I've become. Every scar got a story to tell. Every fall taught me how to rebel against the fear and the old small lie. Now I walk like a king in my own sunrise. My shark feet hit, chest up, leaning, no love. All grit. Whole room for the heat when I step in. I'm killing it. I'm K-I-L-L-I-N-G. I'm reeling it. That's why I'm killing it. Not just feeling, not just chilling it. I'm killing it. Right now. I'm on it. I'm about it. Say something if you doubt it. I'm killing it. Oh, I'm willing it. I'm feeling it. I'm not waiting. I'm building it. Heartbeat racing. I'm sealed in it. Truth too strong. I'm revealed in it. Come share my life. Come share my pride. Come share this. Let it go wide. As a pilot ride. Tonight I came alive. Heartbeat. Boom, 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 boom. I remember. I'm killing it. I'm K-I-L-L-I-N-G. I'm reeling in it. That's why I'm killing it. Not just feeling it. I'm killing it. Right now. I'm on it. I'm about it. Whole world wanna hear about it. I'm killing it. Heartbeat. I'm killing it. Heartbeat. I'm killing it. Heartbeat. 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 I'm killing it. Heartbeat. 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 Heart feeling it. Heartbeat. 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 Killing it.
Hey everyone, this is William Rochelle, but you can call me Bill, and welcome to UBU Live. That song is called I'm Killing It. I wrote it last week. I was having a great day, the birds were chirping, spring was here, and I'm like, I remember who I am, and that is now my new jam. I want to welcome to the stage Miss Leslie Flowers. How are you today, my lady?
I am wonderful. How are you? And hello, Fred.
I am fantastic. And Sensei Fred Jordan, what is going on with you, my friend?
Am I on?
I said, what is going on with you? How are you? He was on.
He'll be back.
He will be back. All right. Thank you for the phenomenal from Mr. Aaron Gibson regarding the opening. Thank you, Sean Michael, because I heard that you said you may not be able to make it. Kinga, appreciate everything that you do every day. Curtis Brooks, you showed up. Christy D. Williams, my Florida neighbor. And he's back.
There we go.
Hey!
Hey, everyone.
How are you, Fred?
I'm good. How's everyone today?
Everyone is, well, I'm fantastic.
I'm always
Leslie's fantastic. And
Yep.
the crowd is excited about what's going to happen. So, what occurred, everyone, is a few weeks ago, I had Fred on the show, and I was so blown away by the conversation that we had. And I felt as if we had so much more to discuss. And I wasn't anticipating how unique his thought processes were, and how engaging the topic was. And so I kind of fell in love with the entire topic. And as I was talking, as he was talking, I was thinking about Leslie in the back of my head, because I'm like, Leslie, like this sounds like what she talks about. And I said, wouldn't it be wonderful if I can get the two of them together? And so that is why we are here today, is basically to hear the discussion between two people that are, I believe, walking a similar path. We're all walking our own path, but a similar path as it comes to universal law and the
metacognition.
Metacognition.
It's a new buzzword.
Okay. So with that said, I am going to step away, and I'm going to hand it over to Leslie or Fred. I'm going to stay here, but I'm going to shut up because I want to listen and learn. And like, where do we leave off, Fred? Can you hear me, Fred?
Say it again.
I said, where did we leave off? Where did we leave off with you? I know that there was
You had about five questions on the table that I never answered.
Right. So let's start with the ones that you wanted to answer that you didn't get to answer.
Do you know what they are, Bill?
I'm trying to remember. I do remember that you were, because when I was answering questions, because we were all on a panel, so
Yes.
everybody else was discussing, but I never answered the questions.
So let's go back. Let's understand what is metacognition to the general population out there who does not know what it is, because I don't really understand it.
Leslie, would you like to explain it, or you want me to explain it?
Well, I'll take a crack at it.
Okay.
Okay. It's a new buzzword, and the way it feels right. At first, I thought it was, or I still believe that it's agile thinking, which is the ability to not only stop yourself from being triggered and be very objective, but then be able to determine which context is right for the people you're speaking with. So metacognition is the ability to observe yourself thinking. That's my very rudimentary understanding of it. What do you think, Fred?
I would agree. So the great thing about that, and especially having opportunity with others who experience it, is we know that we get to build through, not an opposite, because everything always exists at once. So you can build in multiple directions in different ways. All truths are true. What the effects of metacognition as it relates to me is the ability to direct the thoughts.
Mhm.
You become aware of them, and then you recognize that not only are you the witness, you're also the person that's either accepting a subconscious invite, which has to be redefined, which should be redefined into your preferred state and movement in order for you to maintain yourself in your ups and downs in life. So metacognition, I understand it to be, or if I was going to define it from my own perspectives, was recognizing thought and its impact on your emotions, and then the ability to step out of thought and reframe, where you're not the character playing in your role. You're the producer, the director, the writer, the witness. You're all of it. But the metacognition teachings helps us understand that there is a place that exists within our totality of our human existence as beings, where we have the ability to become aware and awaken and discover that we have some other tools available to ourselves.
Okay, so quick. Right now, whatever you're doing, you look great. Now you look blurry. So, I'm not sure if you have a filter on, but I want to make sure that we get the best of you. That was a really good explanation. So, I like to use real-time data when I'm talking to people. So yesterday you guys were talking, and the story went to 2020, which was a real trigger for me. And I was like, I can't deal with this. I'm not living in 2020. And I had to step away because it was a trigger, and I had to get my mind reset around that thought. But in the moment, I needed to step away. Does that make sense? Do you understand
Makes
that?
a lot of sense.
Okay. So, and I think I even put respectfully, I need to leave, because it was bringing up a time of complete loss for me, and getting back on the horse has not been as easy for me as I thought it would be. And I hadn't had to look for a job in 12 years. I own my own company. So the best thing that I thought I could do in that moment was to step away. And then I wrote down my feelings, and those were my feelings. They weren't directed to anyone else. They were just my feelings. And I, like all artists, I put it out in an article. Like, this is how I felt in 2020, because those emotions came up.
That's the beginning. That's the beginning of metacognition, but it takes practice, and it is the higher side of choosing contexts. We have many different perspectives and lots of lessons, and depending on the audience or the context, then you have the ability on the fly not only to immediately step away from any trigger, doubt that there is a trigger at all. When this is occurring, you're in the higher side, and you are in complete control of your thoughts, and you have access to every one of those perspectives. But this takes a lot of practice. It would be like the same presentation I could give to a group of physicians as I would a group of HVAC repairmen. So the content is the same. What changes is the context, right? So the examples are the same, only the people change to land for those listening. So it's, for me, it's not something that you can claim unless you can do this and become an agile thinker. But who knows? It's a new buzzword, right? So we get to say, I'm creating it as an area of mastery. Now, I do know that Kinga, who's in the audience, she thinks this way for
Right.
sure. So it just takes years. And wouldn't you agree, Fred, that this is not something that all of a sudden, you wake up one day and you're a metacognitive. There's a long distance between that first catch of being triggered. And I admire you for doing that, because most of us sit and steam.
Admire
Right.
who?
You. Yes.
Well, I was about to say to Fred, what I recognized in that moment was it wasn't about the conversation that they were having. It wasn't about Carrie and Fred's conversation. It was about my triggers. And I'm the only one responsible for how I react to my triggers. And so me stepping away was my safety zone.
That's right.
Because if I didn't, I could sit and stew. And who was I mad at? Nobody. It's no one's fault that I'm where I'm at. But a trigger is a trigger. And so how I handled it was reflective. I tell everyone out there, I'm living life minute by minute because it changes. And so it was reflective for a second. I wrote down everything that I was proud of about myself and released it. And then look forward to meeting with Fred today and you today to talk about how do we get through that. And when someone's really going through trying to elevate their frequency, there's still ups and downs. And so we still have to give ourselves grace. Does anything I'm saying to you make sense, Fred?
It all makes sense.
I feed off of responsiveness.
So then, if I may,
Yeah.
let's go ahead and really dive into that. Bill, did you play any sports growing up at all?
Okay.
What
Fred, right. Yes, I did. I played baseball. They put me in left or right field, one of the one that no one gets, and I would daydream, and then they were shouting at me to come back in. Right? They were like, "Come back in." And when I was running back in, I was the only kid still on the Little League field. I tripped over first base and face planted. And my brother Philip, is just an agile athlete. He can pick up a pool stick, a golf club, a baseball, football, basketball, a tennis ball, like whatever he picked up, he was natural at it. And I remember one time I went to throw a stick. And I don't know how this happened, Fred, but when I went to throw the stick, it went backwards.
Yeah.
So I was that kid. It was always, oh, this is so terrible. It was always me and Darlene Williams that were the last to be picked. And Darlene Williams would get picked before me, and she only had one leg. And I was just like, how is this happening?
It's okay, because that part is significant but not relevant. What I'm looking for is a reference point with you, so we can say some things that can help provide some forms of clarity and Leslie can put the frosting on the cake or with it. So when Leslie said that you have to practice it, are you a dancer? Do you know how to dance?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yep. So you lit up. So that means when you dance, you understand that dancing is an expression of yourself. You're
Yes.
expressing yourself. You're
That music.
also
Writing.
you would also say that you are in line with the music.
Yes.
You're in harmony with the music.
I'm in
Whether
harmony
it's
with the
the
music.
beat, the bass, the bump, you can feel it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
So
And my go-to when I need to calm myself down is anything creative, whether it's a picture, music, or writing. That's why after the show, I went and finished like articles, wrote down things that I loved about myself, and
mhm.
then was able to push that out. And when I push something out, I'm able to release.
Okay. You
So
found your mechanisms in order for you to balance yourself out.
yeah,
So
yeah, I'm able to let it go. Once I let it, once it's out, I'm over it.
so I understand those components as it relates to having certain situations where Leslie will say it's the beginning. I consider those to be an invite to your greatness. If you're going to be different, you can't be like everybody else. If you're going to be if you're going to be great at something, it's better to throw the stick backwards than to throw it forward. Your awkwardness is not your awkwardness; it's really your gifts. It's learning how to take your awkwardness. They're not awkwardness. They're your brilliances. They're your geniuses. And aligning in your awkwardness the way you align with music and express yourself. Because when you in music, where are you here? Where are you in your heart? So you align yourself in you in a way that you have not only a mental thought, you have a feeling, a vibrational feeling of your being, and then you have a physical expression. That is an example of an alignment. In order to shift, or the practices of shifting from an alignment that's not preferred, you have to understand that that is an alignment. You're not out of alignment, you just aligned in something that you don't prefer. You align yourself in your vibrational being where you feel you have accepted, and you realize that one, I have been in plenty of challenges. I've been in plenty of situations. When I was a kid, I was very awkward, but look at me now. If you can't say look at me now, you can say, well, look at what I have done. So who you are now and what you have done, none of that goes away. You don't change. You just redefine, because like what you mentioned earlier, it's ups and downs, ups and downs. You can never get to the next level without pressure. That's why I say when your situations occur, they're an invite to your greatness. Don't beat yourself. No one should be beating themselves up over not understanding something, not realizing, well, not questioning, or well, why am I like this? Or why is this like that? No, it's totally fine. Like what you said, you found your genius showed you how to find bring it back down. These are things where we are discovering expanded components of ourselves that was not, and this is how it normally starts. We think that we were told when we were younger, It has to be taught to us. You have to tell it to us. I have to duplicate what somebody else did and what someone else said. So you have to learn how to get them other voices out. So you can reconnect to the one that's saying, I'm the one that's pulling you. I'm the one I'm the reason you don't feel that great, because you're listening to something that somebody else said in your past, in your subconscious.
Absolutely. I feel that. I feel that. But while I'm looking at you, I'm going to ask you this question. Are you running something in the background?
Not
Because
that I know of.
you keep blurring. And is he blurry to you, Leslie? And I just want you to look the best that you can look.
I'm
Like the
listening.
lens. I thought that would have done it.
But
Maybe because, let me see something.
go ahead, Leslie.
It's okay to respond?
Yes.
Okay. So Fred had a lot to say there. And I think I'll give you a different perspective on the same thing. So those voices, the other voices, are your fears. They're in your subconscious. You learn them through repetition. You were humiliated. You were embarrassed. You felt bad when you were always the last one, right? To be chosen. Now, out of that, to Fred's point, what you've developed are lessons. This is now your synthetic imagination. It's part of your imagination that when you get a wild idea, you can go back and retrieve the lessons you learned while your fears were developing. And a lot of this has to do with, as you said, this is about the law of vibration, which means you're either growing or disintegrating. Nobody ever reaches or arrives perfection. And so you have the law of rhythm, which is the ups and downs. So when you were speaking about 2020, you had a long period of ups, very long period. Now you're going to have some downs, and you expect them, because that's how the universe works. For every down, there is a matching up. You just don't know when you're going to see it. That's the law of gestation or gender. So you can set a goal and you can, set a date to inspire and excite you. But ultimately, if you're not prepared for it, you will not receive it or manifest it until you have learned what is necessary to actually achieve what you want and to enjoy it. The universe will not give you what you want, no matter how badly you want it, until you are a vibrational match to having what it is you want. So it's helpful to know that in your mind, you've got two minds, your conscious and your subconscious. The metacognition and the agile thinking is in your conscious mind. And that's where the faith is. And from your subconscious is fear, your shadow side, the dark side. We all have that. Only one prevails in every given moment. The question is how many times are you going to think it? Right? And until you realize that the only thing that we can control is what we think, how often we think it, and how we're feeling when we think it, because mind is an activity, it's cellular. And so we actually can control our physiology, our neurology, all by what we think. How do you stay consistent? You pick a goal that you're compelled to do, that you're driven to do, that is heart-centered, and that when you begin on it, it will outweigh any of your fears. And we have faith in our fears. We've lived them. These are real. So that's how you do it.
We have faith in our fears, meaning that
yes,
we believe in those fears?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, let's look at COVID, right? Well, one of the 6 basic fears is the fear of illness. Well, we know people who died. I mean, some of us had COVID. That is a real fear. And here's the trick about the vibration that Fred was talking about. You see, when you resurrect a memory using visualization, which is the DNA of manifestation, when you visualize, that's where you raise your vibration. It's exciting to think about it. Oh, I can't wait. You imagine it as though you've already had it. Before Fred broke those bricks, he already visualized himself doing it many, many times without touching the bricks. The mind is powerful. Now, what happened with you was there was one other thing that Fred talked about. What you did as a youth is very often going to be your purpose when you're much older. When you go back to the thing you love doing, such as dancing or music, whatever it is, decades can go by and it still shows up for you. So these are spiritual seeds, ideas that you had that are in the works, always in the works. Spiritual seeds do not disappear, and dreams don't disappear because you've changed your mind and you're not doing it. So I know I went in a lot of different places, so pick and choose whatever I said and pick it apart. What did I say that inspired you? Let's just put it that way. Hey, Peter Mulfer.
I love Peter. What did you say that inspired me is that we get to pick and choose which direction we're going to go in. And I believe that yesterday I picked and I chose. But I chose to release. But in the moment, for my safety, I also chose to exit in that moment. And you've been there, Leslie, because I think, remember during you might not remember it, but I had a show and someone said something and you're like, I gotta go.
Oh yeah, I did, because I was offended because I thought you were going down a road that triggered me.
Yeah.
Right. And so there's power in that. Now, let me just tell you that when I was married for over 3 decades, one of the things I learned was to choose my partner the way he is and the way he isn't. Right? So choice, objective choice, and reminding yourself of the commitment, not just when things are great, but when we had those tough days, right? I had to remind myself that I've chosen this life, and this is part of the rhythmic part, right? Okay, so there's power in choice. There's a real power. It settled me. Like if I was upset or he did something that was annoying, there were times when we didn't speak for several days. That doesn't happen now. And so the more that you catch yourself being triggered for whatever the reason, the sooner you reframe it using the law of polarity, which to its exact opposite, which is also true, and I've heard Fred say that absolutely, both are true, but only one dominates in any given moment. And whichever thought you choose has its associated amplitude of vibration. If it's low, your results will match that. If it's high, predominantly, right? If it's high, if you do this quickly, you spend less time in the doldrums because you've caught yourself and you really know what you just did. Oh my God, this is that again. Well, I think that's enough for now. Fred, what are you thinking about all of that?
I appreciate you setting it up that way.
Thank
because
you.
they have the ability to go multiple directions.
Right.
I would like to talk about the application of choice. What does that look like in order for you to get to where you're saying you honestly looking to go? People make a choice to defend. I'm making a choice to be safe. I'm making a choice from triggers. How do we convert triggers to where triggers are no longer triggers, but they are now serving us? And this is where it gets great. So if you were going to look at something that triggered you, the metacognition component is defining why is it a trigger. And then from there, you will recognize that you have another set of choices again, if it's about choice. The challenge is if I say something, just because I said it, does that mean that is it? And that is not true. There is power in the words, there are power in the tongue, but it's incomplete on its own. Faith is dead without actions.
Yes.
What do you mean that that's not true? Could you just say a little bit more about that?
I should have used these words. It is a pillar, not the completion, because we are physical, mental, emotional beings. The alignment is something that you experience in all of them.
Isn't alignment vibration? Couldn't you
Definitely
replace okay, and that's one of the things I like to do, is to really get it down to the common denominator. We all have different labels. We have labels for God, right? We have labels for everything. So I'm always looking for the common denominator. So in my world, that would be alignment would be associated with the vibration. You have negative alignment, you have positive alignment, right? You can be aligned negatively, right? Had you stayed in the room, Bill, that's probably what would have happened, right? But you know, your vibration dropped when you were triggered. And look, those triggers all, don't you agree, Fred, that they all come from what we call originating incidents? And I've done a lot of work on this. And based on the 6 basic fears, you know, we've all been humiliated, really humiliated. And every time we remind ourselves of that humiliation, our vibration drops. We resurrect the visual image of the actual experience, and we feel lousy again. And this is what deepens the neuroplastic pathways, if you will, or creates the chemical concoction that causes us to default to the negative. So in our work, we can disprove those fears by actually accomplishing those things that we didn't accomplish before. So, Bill, it would be like you're being chosen first for a team, right? So pick a team that will choose you first so we can outwit that fear. But you've got the fear of criticism and judgment. Everybody has this. You have the fear of poverty. Holy smokes, right? Everybody has that, unless you're born into wealth, which is a tiny fraction of 1% of people, where you didn't hear repeatedly, we can't afford that, wait to this, we can't afford it, we can't afford it, over and over and over again your whole life. It impresses into the subconscious mind and it lives like the truth. You got the fear of ill health. You have the fear of loss of a loved one. Why should I go out with someone else? I just was burned, right? How many bad relationships have we had, or relationships that ended? And maybe we don't want to do that. We're afraid that if we do give our heart's going to be broken. Mine's been broken recently, but I'm coming back really good. Then you've got old age. I mean, look at me. I am old. I am really old. And yet I feel like I'm 21. It's relative to each person. I don't feel old, but if you look at my age, you're going to go, there are a lot of blue-haired old ladies that are my age, right? With the little curls and all that. Okay, never. And then the fear of death. So every one of those fears, every time you remind yourself, let's say you're asked to speak in front of people, the biggest fear is public speaking, or one of the big ones, which is part of the fear of criticism. You were a little kid, and you got the assignment wrong, and all the kids laughed at you. You were humiliated. You fought back the tears, and you said to yourself, I'll never get up in front of people again. And that's the survival that people talk about with our fears, that we did protect ourselves. The problem is here we are 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, and 80 years old, behaving and triggered like a 7-year-old, you see? And so therefore you're further defining the neural pathways to revert to negative thought. That's where the practice comes in, doing exactly what you did, Bill. And every time you do that, the length of time that you're upset shrinks.
Yes.
The idea is that pretty soon you catch it on the fly and you move into whatever context you want to talk about.
Yeah,
And
I caught it immediately, and then, like I said, released it. But I gave myself that moment.
well, no one else
know?
could do it. No one else could do it but you. What do you
Yeah.
think about this, Fred? What does alignment actually feel like to you in real life when you're aligned? In a positive way or a negative, or either way? I guess I would ask Sam.
So alignment exists like faith, in the sense of, it's not that I don't have any faith, it's what am I choosing to believe in. So or like belief. It's not that you don't believe, it's I choose to believe something else. You always have belief. You always have alignment. How am I aligned? Is the calling of awareness of totality of self, to become aware of how am I aligned? Because your reality that we're calling reality, which is our physical existence, the moments, the nows, the situations, those are like a screen that you're watching. And it's not that if you change in your being, it changes something in the sense of you have to skip other steps. But let's say, for example, you have a situation where accounts are low, negative, not too sure what's going to come in. How it's assessed off the screen based on how a person think, what a person believes, determines how that affects you, because it's ups and downs and everything. The alignment component becomes broadened when you realize what I have defined for myself puts me in a state that I do not prefer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It is nothing that anyone else can do in those steps of, like what Leslie mentioned, taking that responsibility. Great, take the responsibility, but that's not it. Those are steps. Because at some point, like what Leslie is saying, in practice, it builds I was going to use sports for an example, because the more you practice something, it becomes, and here's how I teach it in the art. You practice it until it becomes a part of you. And it doesn't become a consistent practice, it becomes a lifestyle. So it's not like you achieve it, boom, I'm here, I arrived, I don't have any challenges. Oh, I'm here, I'm there, I don't get angry anymore. Oh, here, I've arrived, I don't have emotional experiences. You continue to experience it all. However, you're not the tail of it. You're the head, because you are the one consciously filtering it. So when I look at my accounts, And I've had situations in business, you go down, down, up, down, down, up, down through it. It's not that if what's happening in the reflection of what I'm looking at, it is the fact that I have a physical application that I know is going to turn that around. What is my physical movement that I'm aligned with from this side of in my space where everything exists that I have chosen? What is it that I have chosen that I have physically felt? So when Leslie mentioned, like what I said before I broke the bricks, I already felt it. I'll even take it a step further. When I did the 59 bricks in a minute, I never practiced it. I've never tried it before. But let me tell you, it has nothing to do with it's only because I have a strong mind. I had to learn the physical technique. Without the physical technique, I believe I have faith, but what was my physical techniques and what I was executing? And the real truth was I focused to prepare for it on my focus. Do I have the ability to maintain the technique? Can I continue the technique? Continue. So it stopped being about the technique. It started being about my awareness until it becomes a lifestyle. And it applies to everything that we do.
Yeah, and it all starts with what you're thinking. Right? It's what you're thinking, the action that you're taking in the vibration or the alignment based on what you're thinking. So if you're thinking something negative, right? This isn't going to work. I'm frustrated. I don't like this. And if you think that a lot, then when you move into action, this is where you stub your toe or you trip, because what you've done is you have lowered your cellular vibration by persistently thinking at a low amplitude of vibration. So that's what it feels like, right? To be misaligned or aligned with the negative. It feels awful. And we're built for high vibration, for love and generosity and kindness. So when we're out of alignment with that side of us, we're in alignment with the negative side. But which is going to dominate is the question. That's where the practice comes in. And so it's also, you're right, Fred, you don't ever get there. It is a lifetime aspiration to live in alignment, in love and kindness, and a very high vibration. I also wanted to slip in here that attitude is really three things, right? People say, well, change your attitude, Leslie. I remember my mother used to say that. Well, if you just change your attitude, it's what you're thinking, how frequently you're thinking, the way you're feeling, and then the action you take, right? To your point, the physical action, but it's all spawned by what you're thinking and how it makes you feel when you take action. Yeah.
So I have a couple of questions for both.
Well, look at this Chorito.
But I wanted one of you guys to take on Chorito real quick, and I'm going to take myself off the stage for a second while you talk to Chorito. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Am I clear?
You're a little fuzzy, but you're still good looking. So just leave it as it is. It's just all right. You're very handsome man, by the way.
Then that's a very flattering compliment coming from you.
Blurring actually could be to your advantage.
Okay. It depends on how we define it, huh?
Right. Everybody's view is relative. That's another of the universal laws. Anyway, when a fear of accident really happened and manifested in the body, how do you cope with the duality of hope and fear present at the same time all the time? Fred?
Sure. You can't have hope without fear. So if you remove fear, you wouldn't experience hope. You're hoping for something. Fear exists to let you know that hope exists. You get to choose hope. Now, the real question is, how do I choose it? Because everybody say it, but how do you choose it? You choose it by, I'll give you another example of something. Take a subject or an item. You take an item, a food. Take a food that you don't like or something that you do not like and physically hold it, or you don't prefer. You know, you might say, well, I prefer a coffee and I do not prefer a soda. If you take the coffee and you prefer the coffee, go ahead and take the soda and hold it in your hand, which you do not prefer the soda. You breathe in, you breathe out, and you put the soda down. You breathe in, you breathe out, and you pick the coffee up. That is a physical practice of releasing what you do not prefer and acquiring what you do. That sends a chemical reaction in the body with the brain where chemicals are being released. Now, it doesn't, what it does is it creates more of a, let me remember how it feels. To release, let me remember how it feels to accept, to the point that the physical is not needed anymore. Let me remember how it feels to release. In the gym, there's a term called the negatives. You get the negatives when you focus on the weight descending, because you normally get your positive when you push the weight up, but you get the negative on the descending. If you focus on the descending and releasing it, and you start focusing on the positive and pulling it while you breathing, you are allowing your breathing in your thought process. And that allows your genius an opportunity to recharge, vamp, come on into play. Because you don't just only want to put the Band-Aid on it, you want to heal it. Mm-hmm. And you get good at that, you're going to be able to do techniques that are, I don't have any other language yet, but you know how you visit your past? So because you have the ability to visit your past in your mind, we're going to call it time travel. When you revisit your past, you will not be the person that was receiving the things you didn't prefer. You will be the observer telling that person, there's much more to you than this. You'll go back and you'll heal yourself. And then when you'll never come back here again, you'll just be moving forward in the idea of things don't trigger me like that anymore. Especially when we come from situations that had trauma and things that really played a strong word on us, a strong hold on us, but we can only define it for what we understood at the time and how it made us feel at the time. But then when we find our power in the fears, in the challenges, they're there to train you. And that's where we are training at, Leslie, you said it's 5 or 7?
6.
6. I'm gonna call it a six-headed
well,
dragon.
wait a minute. If it's the universal laws, there are 7. But if it's your
I'm
fears,
speaking on the fears. Excuse me, the
there are
fears.
6. And let me tell you, we have perfect faith in our fears.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem. What you're saying is ideal if we can get that kind of perspective. Yet the reality is that, we actually use visualization to remember. We can draw from memory the vibration or the alignment that we want. There is a practice called heart math, where you basically generate from another memory something very positive, and I use that if I'm having a hard time staying inspired by what I'm doing. If I've lost my inspiration, I'll go back into my memory of something that really juiced me up, that I really loved. And then when I start feeling scintillated, right, because I can five sensorize it, it was wonderful, I felt good, I could smell the air and all that, then I switch the visual image on the screen of my mind. So now that new image has basically built on top of that high alignment or vibration. Yeah. So what was the question she had? Okay. Charito, you can actually manifest the accidents. And you cannot be in faith and fear or hope and fear at the same time. You only can have one thought at a time, even if they're fast, just like the 0 and 1 in computers. Right? That's all the languages are 0 and 1, 0 and 1. Right? Well, that you've got faith and fear. You've got your conscious and your subconscious. The subconscious with the fears is stronger because you've been reliving it all your life. So when you begin this work, you start with awareness, as Fred said, right? You have to become aware and then you take an action. I ask because every day put that back up. I was reading it. Wait a minute. I was reading what she was saying and wanted to answer that. Hold on a second. There we go. I asked because every day I'm reminded that. Go ahead, Fred. Fear. When the accident physically
I can't even see
my
it
left
because
leg, and yet
it's
my
too
hope
small.
to have it returned. Well, let me compare you, Charito Yamar. I want to remind you about Frida Kahlo. Frida Kahlo turned her terrible accident. If you know the story about her, she was married to Diego Rivera. She's was a very well-known Mexican artist. Diego Rivera's murals are all over the presidential palace in El Zocalo in Mexico City. They were very famous. In fact, they housed my uncle Leon Trotsky and his wife when they were exiled by Stalin from Russia, right? And that's where Uncle Leon and his wife went to stay to be protected. But then, of course, the story goes that Uncle Leon had an affair with Frida, and my aunt my grandmother's aunt found out about it and wouldn't let them stay, wouldn't stay there anymore. And as soon as he left their home, Stalin's henchmen caught up with Trotsky and gave him a hatchet in the head. Now, why the heck I was going there? Oh, because Charito. So Frida Kahlo was one of the most famous, celebrated artists, and she had nothing but pain from her accident. It was an accident on a bus where she was thrown, I believe, off of a bus. During an accident while she was in a bus, and it was horrible for her. Her whole life she's been in bed pretty much, and yet she had one of the most tumultuous love affairs with one of the most famous men right on the planet. So start to look up for how your opposite, so the depth of your low will always match a high. That's the law of rhythm. The universe will make sure. You just don't know when. So you want to be looking for that accident and that debilitation as access to your greatness, as Fred said, because you experienced the low. Now you deserve, and the universe will grant you with the high. You just have to change your thinking and start looking for how you can make a difference from that experience. So there. Are you guys paying attention to me?
I am. Absolutely.
Most students, all of them, to be honest with you, who had any form of a quote unquote disability, generally became some of the most exceptional.
Yes.
It's not the what it is based on how people told it to you to be. It's what you define it to be. But when we're dealing in the mental anguish, that first layer of anguish, how do I get out of that anguish? If you
Mm.
can recognize that it's anguish,
Mm.
that means you have the ability to do it. When you don't recognize that it's anguish, you haven't gotten there yet. But the anguish is there to call you into something else.
I
You're
agree.
worthy of it. There are scriptures that say we don't get burdens that we can't handle. When I look at certain things, I'll be like, oh, I wouldn't be able to handle that. My goodness. Because there is we evolve, we grow in ourselves individually and ourselves collectively. But a seed has to grow from underground in challenge with pressure. But its determination, which is put into its own brilliance and greatness, gives it the ability to bust through concrete and evolve into grass, trees, weeds, anything else. In its excellence of how it was created. I understand nature to be examples to us. Those are our teachers.
Mhm.
So you go back to your breathing. As simple as breathing is, as basic and simple, putting your mind on what connects you to what we call life helps us remember who we are in life. And when you continue to make those types of practices, that is a physical technique, a mental tenacity, and levels of faith. We start to remember that we are what we are fighting against. There's nothing else fighting against us. It's us.
Sure.
And only thing it's saying is I'm gonna either fight against you or I'm gonna be on your side, what you want me to be. You have the ability to becoming the head and not the tail is when you recognize that it's all under you.
You know, one of the things that you're reminding me of here is the brilliance of how for years children who were middle of the road in school were considered normal, and those who had neurodivergencies, if you will, or right, and because we never trained our teachers to teach them how to learn, just the middle of the road. And what I've learned is that every person I know that has some sort of neuro whatever, I mean, I don't care what you call it, whichever one of those classifications, some different way of thinking, that they are all geniuses, every single one that I've met. If there was something that appeared to be missing from middle of the road education, then it was replaced by the universe with something brilliant. And I think that's one of our biggest mistakes, is labeling people that weren't middle of the road, because that's all we knew, as normal. But those people, there's something wrong with them. And there isn't. And in fact, I get along really well with people that think in a neurodivergent way, because I'm not sarcastic with them. I speak straight. They don't always get the innuendo, right? And the subtle sarcasm that I can spew at any time. I don't use that with those folks because they don't process it, right? They really don't. So, but you had mentioned something about the gift that folks who don't learn middle of the road like the rest of us may have. And I just wonder if all of us don't have a touch of these things, that it's not a permanent place where you land on the spectrum of neurodivergence or ADHD or any of those things. And I'm no expert in it, but I've had my moments when I would wonder, am I neurodivergent? right? Am I a narcissist, right? Have I been, right, ego driven and all that? And so we find those anomalies in ourselves, but they don't dominate our thoughts. That's the difference, right? So anyway, I kind of went down a rabbit hole there. Back over
So,
to you, Bill.
so I have three questions.
Oh, God.
Who has a pen and a paper? Any of you guys? I don't
I
know.
do. I do.
Okay. All right. So 2020, childhood, and last Monday. Those are the three things I need to remember before we leave. Those are my three questions.
Okay.
Which one do you guys want to start with?
Let's do childhood. What do you think, Fred?
Childhood is always a great place to start.
The childhood is easy. I had a traumatic childhood from 0 to 8 years old, and then from 12 until 16. I don't remember the 4 years from 8 and 12. My dad died when I was 8. He was abusive. He set my mom's hair on fire. He put a gun to her head. I mean, he talked about me really badly because I wasn't as good in sports as my brother. And then at 12 years old, my mother decided to move to California. And she said, "Do you want to go with me?" And I'm sitting there going, where the hell am I supposed to go? So between 12 and 16, every year, my mom put me out. So first, she put me, so we moved to California, me and my brother. Then she said, "Oh, you're not doing well here, so I'm going to send you back to live with your grandparents." My grandparents were like, after 13, you need to go back to your mom. Back to my mom. Then her and I got into a big argument when I was 14, and she drove me to a runaway shelter and said, "Tell them you have no place to go." The runaway shelter said, "This isn't a bad kid. You have to take him home." And she said, "What if I don't want him?" So I did not start living my life until I slept in my car at 16. And I slept in my car when I was 16 because my mom's car broke down. And she called my grandfather and said, "Billy just turned 16. He needs a car." And so my grandfather brought me, it was $2,500. It was a brown 1980 Toyota Celica. It was used, but it was nice. It was mine. And she said, "I want you out of my house, and I'm taking the car away from you." I'm like, "I'm not going to be homeless and carless." Like, that's it. And I took off. And that's when I started that's when I started living. Because
So what's your question about all of this?
the question is, well, I think it's more of a statement that my triggers are based on when my life seems to be unstable. That's when I get rocky. And it's not about finances, because I'm going to take you to 2020.
Okay.
So we'll go to, because it's not about finances.
Stay there for a second, Bill.
Sure.
Is it a possibility that your triggers is not is the digestion of the treatment of how you feel like you were treated versus the stability? Because the words that you used wasn't about stability; it was what they were saying to you and what they were doing to you.
It was also stability, because from the age of 12, I didn't know where I was going to live. So I'm now, 25 years later, and I'm in a position where I don't know where I'm going to live because of the economy. So, and in 2008, Fred, I moved to Dallas and the economy crashed. I was living in Los Angeles, living large, moved to Dallas, bought a house, cash. When everything crashed in 2008, between 2008 and 2010, my house was worth nothing. My 401k was worth nothing. So I lost my car. I had 2 cars, both got repossessed, and my house got foreclosed on. I moved to Florida and I rebuilt everything. And I ended up building a $26 million company. I purchased it from the founders and then scaled it. And I will tell you this, 2020, my business closed in 2021. 2020 was my hardest year. And the reason why it was my hardest year is because I was taking so much time trying to save the business, trying not to lay off 50 people, trying to keep payroll going. So I was putting my money into it. 2021, when the business closed, and 2022 were 2 of the best years of my life. I left Florida. My ex-wife came and she was like, "You're not going to be in Florida by yourself." After closing the business, her and I drove an SUV from here with 2 dogs back to LA. I stayed there for a year. My daughter got engaged. I paid for her wedding, and it wasn't $10,000. She wanted a 3-day destination wedding in New Orleans. So it was a grip. So I wasn't caring about money. I've never operated from a place of lack. And that's why, even though my business closed in 2020, really literally 2020, but the March of 2021 was when all the documents were signed. So there's a gap there. But I was able to relax. My finances were good. And in 2023, when I decided to go back and start consulting, I got a gig just like that. It was a 1-year gig, good to go. Between 2023 and 2026, 2023. Yeah, from 2024 to 2026, I worked for 4 months. And my expenses every month are $8,000 a month. So there's a sense of pride in that too, that I was able to rebound and rebuild. But I'm so triggered by all of that. I'm so triggered when people say you're operating from a place of lack, because I'm also getting told you need to humble yourself. So
you need to get all of those voices out of your head. So let's and I know, Leslie, you probably have some good stuff to say because I saw all of the laws. So Bill, when you were young and you were unstable and you felt like you were unstable, how did you become stable?
my grandfather got my car and I moved out.
How did you become stable?
I got myself out of the situation.
Okay. So you remember
but I lived in that car.
Okay. How did you become stable at some point?
That was stability for me in that moment. And
At
then
that moment. But what was the next moment? When did you become stable where you didn't have to live in your car?
6 to 7 months later.
Gotcha.
And it was difficult because people take advantage of teenagers, and especially homeless teenagers that don't have a strong family support system.
Were you stable?
Was I stable?
I'm asking you, when did you become stable where you can say I'm stable? When in your life have you said I'm stable? When was the first time in your life you said you were stable?
Probably in my 20s, 21.
Okay. So in your challenges growing up, you somewhere along the line, you were able to acquire stability.
Absolutely.
Came from who you are as a person. Would you say that you are more, you have another type of strength now? You have more clarity now than what you had in your 20s.
I think we're always learning about ourselves. So the answer is yes,
Okay.
but I'm also learning new things and the world is changing. And so as the world changes, especially right now, it's changing super fast. That the way that I managed before is not the way that I can manage in this moment.
Yeah. So obviously, of course, when you were 20, you probably wouldn't have been able to explain that the way you just did now.
When I was 20, I didn't care.
Okay.
But when I was 20, when I was 20, I was literally great group of friends. I got a place. I got 2 roommates, and we would be sleeping on each other's couches because we were going out all night. So that was an entirely different type of world. But as far as like being able to take care of myself and feed myself and house myself and own the car, I was always the one that had the most.
And you were in your 20s.
In my 20s, absolutely.
Amongst the people that you were around.
Yes.
How did and you were doing what you felt like you needed to do in order to get there, so that you were able to get there at some point.
I've
So
gotten there many times, but I think right now I'm tired.
this is where I'm going with this.
Mm-hmm.
You're not in your 20s, and if your disposition is, I got over my challenges a certain way. I took responsibility. I did this. I did whatever I needed to do. Exactly what, not, of course, too sure, but you acquired stability. And of course, you're more now, because the challenges that you just explained, you had nothing. You went from homeless to a car to creating stability. And you're a different person now. That sounded harder than the business falling. My business fell under the ground in 2020, knocked everything out.
But mine too, absolutely. But
Everything underground, which
yeah.
gave us an opportunity to build back with new pillars. And
But at the same time, one of the things that I want people to hear is that I rebounded from a total loss in 2010.
Uh-huh.
And I was able to acquire the business. And then in 2020, I was putting 6 figures back into that business that I had just bought. So that by the time it collapsed, my net worth was not, well, I lived 6 years without a job, but it was not what I wanted it to be.
Let's go back to the one. Go ahead, Leslie.
Mm-hmm.
I was just going to say, with all your writing, and I've loved your writing, one of the things I've noticed is that you spend a lot of time talking about what wasn't working and what isn't working for you. And that actually is a lower vibration and sources more of that. And it is time, I think, for you to create a new context for yourself. You can use those 2 years, or you said there were a couple of years there where everything was great with your wife or whatever it was. You can use those memories to raise your vibration. But, now is the time. We are co-creators. We have the universe on our side. We have the gift of visualization. It is time, in my view, to immerse yourself in the new adventure that you're creating rather than staying immersed in the things that aren't working. Doesn't mean to cut it off, but what I'm hearing is a lot of time in that lower vibration. Now, you have an abundant mindset because your identity, your self confidence, and your self image are like a cybernetic system. They're just like your furnace. You worked a long time to create a new set point of greatness and achievement. And you lived inside that. You know what that feels like. And you also know what it was like before. So I'm saying that it's time to consider an upsweep in your dreams, to create new dreams, to write about new ideas. And if you have to go back to those 2 years where everything was really cooking very well for you.
I was doing nothing. I mean,
what, it doesn't matter.
I was with my family, but the lack of income didn't bother me.
I understand.
Yeah.
So do you get what I'm saying is that you are cause in the matter of your life. Whatever we believe about our ability and our deservability is going to match our results. So you could say, if that's true, the results of not having the kind of gigs and employment that you want, you have a responsibility for that. Yes, the world is turning upside down, but you still can create, right? And look at things differently, try different things, do new things. But above all, there's a story that you keep telling, and we all do this. I'm recommending you stop telling this story.
Okay.
Right. It doesn't mean that you don't still work on it, but that you create a new way to generate income. You can't be in the old way of thinking and in a new way at the same time. I don't know. That's just my instinct, knowing you as I do. I don't know you that well, but I do know that you're cause in the matter. And we will perpetuate the same results if we don't change the way we're thinking. And we can create a new context to live into. Context. It means, what is this new life like? Where would I be working? What kind of work do I want to do? What is the office like? Is there a car I want? Really get excited about new things. I don't know. And then go back to what you loved doing as a child. It may take you a while to remember this, but when you had free time, this is where our purpose very often is discovered. When you were little and your mom or your dad said, go outside and play until it gets dark, or, like that. And take a look at what it was that was your go-to thing to do. Like for me, it was playing school, right? And I had to be the teacher. I didn't like being in the classroom and, no shit, here I am, teaching. But it took me 40 or 50 years to connect that is what I love doing. There's a friend of mine who was in publishing, traditional publishing for years, and we would go out to lunch every so often. And one day she came to me, she said, Leslie, I just don't know what to do. I don't like traditional publishing anymore, right? I'm good at it, but I don't want to do it anymore. What should I do? So I asked her over pasta arrabbiata, which is one of my favorites. I said, well, what did you do when you were a little girl? And Mom said, go outside and play. And at first she couldn't answer the question. She kept coming back, right? Because it's a new question. But ultimately, over that lunch, she said, I know what it is. Her dad always had a wonderful garden. And when she had free time, she went out and worked in the garden with her dad. In that 1 hour, she created growandshare.org, which is a local place where you can go and get plants to reduce the footprint of getting plants from other places. Local nurseries would provide the plants, and then you, as a consumer, could go and get those plants. And the only agreement that you had for having the plants free for your garden was that there's a basket of produce on your driveway for your neighbors once everything is harvested. Now, from that, she created a newsletter, a nonprofit within 6 months. Now, part of the conversation was, I said to her, in the Old Testament, the Jews used to leave the edge of the garden unharvested for the poor people. There's always food at the end there, right? And that was their practice in the Old Testament. And that's where Grow and Share came from. That is what inspired her to keep the footprint for bringing food into the area small. So just a simple conversation over lunch and a couple of questions had her go back to what it was she loved doing. And that nonprofit did very, very well. I mean, they had plants offered to them by Lowe's and Home Depot, and it was a big deal. So there's something there, Bill, that you will not see until you begin to create a new context for your life. And maybe it has to do with helping others or helping someone else.
That's where I feel best.
Yeah.
That's where I thrive. I want to ask you guys or make a statement, and then I want you guys to analyze it, because this made me feel really, really bad. I had a great interview on Monday, and right after the interview, they sent me a message that said, "Hey, the CEO wants to meet with you." And I was so excited, and I wrote that song, Killing It. And by the end of it, I was like, something's going to happen. Something's going to go wrong. And I had to push that out. But in the moment, I was asking myself, why is it that I couldn't just see the goodness in that moment? Why did my mind shift into a state of it's something negative that's going to happen?
Okay.
Go ahead,
Conditioned behavior, conditioned thought, like we're discussing, and as well as not only did you think of the possibility, if you can just also see that because you thought of the possibility, you saw it even greater, because I'm actually doing it. It's actually happening, versus here's an invite that comes from a condition of how do I think? And what I was asking you about earlier in your younger years is what we believe in our belief system has a lot, governs how we think.
Mm-hmm.
What is it that I believe that makes me think the way I think? That is when you're getting to the point of, let me start addressing the invites, because I believe something for that invite to come. If I didn't believe it, it wouldn't be a possibility. It's something from how I'm thinking, based on what I believe. So a lot of that is where we get an opportunity to take that journey. The journey is really the gift. When you get on that journey and you start taking yourself apart and you start spiraling out, If you are conscious of it, you already know here we maintain. But I'm figuring this out. I'm learning this about me. Think all this time when you expressed how challenging those years were, you already know how much you learned about yourself during that. How much you saw different possibilities, how much other things presented itself. Whether how it made you feel or not, you got an opportunity to experience a broader.
I always knew that I had a higher calling, even as a kid, even in all of the muck. I always knew that I was going to be okay. As we tend to get older, I think the fear can get deeper. Narcisse, yes, it was a job that helped me feel stable.
Bill, this is also a place where an accountability partner is helpful, because if, for example, if you would ask me that questions, here's what I would say to you. I would tell you to and remind you to hold the right thought. And if someone else, how many times does this happen where someone else got the job and you didn't? And then within a month or so, that person didn't work out and they called you. So the thing here is that you have to see yourself as they're looking for you. They can't, that CEO cannot wait to meet you. You are the one, and that will raise your vibration. And so remember that they should be so lucky to have you, that they've been on the search for you, that if you were working, he wouldn't be able to even, you wouldn't have had the interview.
Right.
Now, when you go to speak with this person, right, remember who you are. You don't even have to tell them. Just remember that they're damn lucky to have you with your background and your experience. Tell yourself that. If you hear yourself saying, oh, you know, what happens if, oh, screw that, and remind yourself, hey, look, I am really good at what I do. They should be so lucky.
I am. I believe that with all my heart.
I had this experience. I used to work for startup companies in the .com era. I worked for 3 of them, and, you know, hiring, and it was just a wild time right around 2000. And I remember during a board meeting with our company, I was the only executive assistant. We had raised $60 million for this. I mean, it was just a lot of fun working in startups. And I was at the end of the building on the phone during the board meeting day. And my boss, the CEO, come up to me and she said, Leslie, we're experiencing a coup right now, because in came some of the, investors, right? They had all showed up and there was a coup going on. So I was at one end of the building, monitoring the front door, answering the phone for the business. And everybody else was at the other end of the building in a conference room. So I'm listening in through a conference call, and I hear someone says, well, what's going to happen with Anne Marie and what's going to happen with Leslie? Oh, they're gone. So the first thing that happened with me, I'm by myself, and I realized, okay, I've just lost my job. So now I feel the blood rising through my neck and into my ears and started thumping. And something happened. In that moment, I said, oh my God, this is a gift. If they don't want me, there's someone else who does. It is a gift, a great opportunity to be let go, because they're not appreciating me anymore. And I'm really good at what I do. When the meeting was over, everybody, they all came out and said, Leslie, are you okay? Because they knew I had just been terminated by phone, right? And I said, oh, it only took a few minutes. This is what happens when you practice catching it, because I felt the blood rising. I was super triggered, right? Poverty, everything. Oh my God, I have to look for another job. And what about the money and all that? But there became a moment when I realized that this was actually a gift, that I didn't belong here anymore. I did what I needed to do, But if I'm stuck there, then those people that are looking for me, they won't have me.
Yep.
So that was fast for me. That's the fastest I've ever done it. And so the more that you're able to flip, that's all you need to do here is remind yourself when those thoughts come up, just outweigh them with, I'm great. I do super things. These people should be so lucky to have me. I'm dedicated. I have experience. I am all the things, right, that I know I am, that I've proven. I've disproven all this BS about fear, right?
Yep.
About me not being good enough or, what are people going to think? No, you are a force to be reckoned with, in my view. And
Thank you.
anyone who gets you, the right person is going to come along and you're going to be so grateful that you didn't get something else because this is going to be the right thing for you. And that's what I would offer you.
Everything works out for me.
Yes.
Everything works out
It
for me.
always works out for me too. I mean,
But
gosh,
it just sometimes when you're in the spiral, you
Just
have
remind
to remind yourself of that. I do want to say this. We're at an hour and 36 minutes.
oh my
I
God.
can go until 2 a.m. Leslie, hell no. How do you guys feel? Do you want to take questions from the audience, or are you ready to hang up? Fred, let's ask you first.
I have plenty.
You have plenty. Okay, Leslie.
What do you mean, Fred? You've had plenty.
You know,
had enough?
what meaning? No. I have so much more to share.
Oh,
I have
God.
plenty more to share, and I was going to say you would understand that because it comes from a place that has no endings to it.
That's
So,
right. That's right. I could go on forever and ever.
Yeah, we can do this all day, all night. Our conversation is going to be something interesting because we get to do something a little different. I don't know if you had a chance to do it or not with someone else. I did the same thing with my friend. He called me. He said he lost his job. I said congratulations because I already knew he was working on cooking. This is your opportunity to get your food truck. He's depressed. He's bothered. He's mad. I'm like, you got a 7 spray package? What are you doing? Let's go. You in California.
Yeah.
You love cooking. You get up and cook every day. That's your food truck business. Got these 5 beautiful little girls. They go out there on the beach in Santa Monica, take them trays out there with you. You're good. But conditioned thinking makes you feel like the word fire is like an F in school.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
And we've learned that failure is learning. So we've been taught through autosuggestion, which is the 4th principle of success in Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. Self-suggestion works for the good, works for the not so good. Whatever you fill your mind with consistently, pervasively on purpose or by default will eventually embed itself into your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind directs that alignment or vibration, always matches your results. Okay. So if you want to know why you're living the way you're living, it has to do with your perfect faith in fear. And so once you do something different that you don't know how to do, or you failed at before and you complete it, that's the first step to moving that into the subconscious. You've proven your ability and your deservability, and you have to do it over and over and over again. But what you have perfect faith in is what you're going to have on your doorstep. So this work is what has you practice catching the triggers, reversing your thinking, using the law of polarity. Both choices are always there. How fast can you become aware of what Fred was talking about? When you're feeling lousy, you can tell in your body that you're thinking at a negative level. Something's bothering you because of the way you feel. That is not normal. So I don't know. Maybe everybody in the audience is bored by now. I don't know.
So we have 195 people watching right now.
Oh my goodness.
We had 333, so the numbers have dropped down.
In
Um,
half.
but well, 333, 196.
Oh,
So they're fluctuating right now. So
okay.
people seem to
Let's-
be engaged, and that's how when I look at the numbers, when people are still there, it means that people are still interested.
Okay, cool, cool. Bobby Lee says positive thinking is powerful and removes fear temporarily. It removes fear temporarily. So this is why when you're creating a new context that you want to have it to be compelling and a driven kind of creation. So when fear does come up, particularly in the beginning when you get a new idea, that it will be outshadowed, but it'll keep coming back. Those fears are never gone. They will rear their ugly head right in the middle of something you're doing. But just remind yourself what's happening here, and that action, well, you go back to why you're doing what you're doing. That'll shut fear up again
Yeah.
for a while. It doesn't, you'll always have those fears. You'll hear their whisper, right? There's 6 voices that are busy. I mean, you could imagine yourself as the CEO and you're at the boardroom table with your 6 advisors, and each one is one of your fears. And you have a new idea and you bring it to the board, and the first one says, well, we can't afford that. And the second one says, you don't have the ability. We don't have the ability to do that. The third one says, well, what if we get sick? The fourth one says, this is not a good idea. You failed before at it. The fifth one says, you're really too old. The company's too old for this. And the last one says the company could go down in flames. Fire them all, but you must replace them with their opposite voice, because the nature abhors a vacuum. So you can't get rid of all those board members, all those fears, without bringing in faith in your ability and deservability through practice to outweigh them, right? So that you give them a pink slip and you bring in the person that says, really great idea, Bill. Let's go for it. We really can afford to do this. We'll invest or we'll take out a loan. And, so those fears can be turned, or you can create the opposite in yourself through visualization, through practice. And that's what it's all about. That's why it's fun. Children are masters at this because their fears have not developed as thoroughly as ours. So you'll notice that when they want the new banana bicycle seat, what do? They start picturing it. They tell you about it every time it's on TV. Mom, Dad, look, there's the bicycle seat I want. Here comes the catalog. They've got it torn up on the wall. They're picturing themselves out riding bikes with their friends. They see themselves already doing it with that new bicycle seat, the banana bicycle seat. They are visualizing. They are resonating or aligning with the highest vibration. And there's very little fear to stop them. What happens? Eventually, the parents get sick of hearing, right? But ultimately, the kid wins. He gets the thing because he was persistent. He had a burning desire. This is what he thought about. He created a new context for himself where he was already riding the bike with the new bicycle seat. So children know how to do this, and their fears don't stop them as much. I mean, they'll take risks, right?
Yeah.
Children take risks.
That's why I said in my 20s, it was way easier than now. And as Narcisse said before, it was a job that made me feel stable.
So the
fake positivity is toxic. What does that mean, Narcisse?
Fake positivity is toxic?
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean? It means you're wearing a mask, right? It means that it is an expression of the fear of criticism. What will people think of me? So I'm going to behave this way so you will like me. That's the fear of criticism and judgment that would cause, or that could cause, someone to be fake, right? Or wear a mask because they're afraid of not looking good. So they're pretending. And, emulation and pretending isn't a bad thing. What are your thoughts, Fred, on that? I mean, emulation is the highest form of flattery. I mean, that's how we can develop more character for ourselves, more leadership skills, by emulating people that we really like and respect. But so what's the difference then between emulation and pretending?
So before we go, I have to go use the restroom.
TMI.
Okay, I'll be right back, guys. Go ahead.
Fred, you go. You're still here.
I
Okay.
know.
There we go.
So the fake it till you make it, the fake positivity is toxic, and then comparing it to something that is really being said but not being quite understood, which is the becoming it so that you can become it. You become it first in your being, in your vibrational being, and then you experience it in your reflection, in your, which we're calling our physical reality. Fake positivity, anything fake is toxic. Faith is not fake. Faith is embracing. So the practice is not fake it. The practice is become it. And then the reality will reflect it.
Now, you remind me of the be do have, the have be do model. So most people say, and I think you may know about this, just, well, when I have money, I want to build a business and then I'll be a CEO. My dream is to be a CEO, but first I got to have the money, then I'll build the business, then I'll become the CEO. This is not right. This is not the way to do it. This is to be the CEO, which is what you're talking about. Take on being the character, or having the characteristics of a CEO. Then build your business and the money will come. To your point, right? It is being and becoming that thing you want to be first. Would you agree, Fred?
I would agree. Becoming it in multiple levels. I normally address it from the being first, becoming it internally first. When, before we accomplish anything, before any titles come, before anything else happens, before you're a millionaire, before you were CEO on paper, everything happened here within you first.
Yes.
So you become aligned internally. To become aligned internally is to pour from that space that you were discussing, that we were all discussing. And then I'm saying you have to make your mind up. Like we're saying choose. Okay, but choice is definitely our key. We must choose it.
Mhm.
But to make your mind up means this. I have made my mind up. Therefore, whatever else is inviting, that's totally fine. But I've already made my mind up. So when you make your mind up, the invites that are saying what you can, what you not, are the fears. In our boardroom, you influence them and you remove them. Let me influence you and quiet you down.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to put somebody else in that place.
Yeah.
So you make your mind up to where you're not saying, I'm finna fake it and I'm gonna act tough and macho and I'm gonna go in the boardroom and then when they address me, I'm gonna sit it down again. But you saw right through me. And when they look, when anything, anyone, any situation looks through you, they will be afraid to look through you because it will reflect back what it is that it was looking to impose upon you. You become a mirror to it,
Mm.
not the tail of it. Okay, this was a fear. Thank you very much, fear. I'm going to go ahead and reflect back onto you what it means to. Okay, so I was afraid of heights. I started flying planes,
You fly planes?
fly planes. So
So you
now
basically did the thing that
typically,
you were afraid of, and that is exactly how you begin to disprove that fear. But once isn't enough, so you flew planes more than once, didn't you?
exactly, and it goes into like necessity. The fear was there as a necessity because, or the situation became a necessity for me to beat the fear. Because when COVID happened, I was concerned that they were going to make us get shots. And I did, and I have already made my mind up that if you say I have to get a shot to travel to teach my classes, I think I'm going to wait. So everybody to each his own, But me personally, my choice was I would not be the first one in line.
Mhm.
So I said I better go learn how to fly planes because I got classes in LA, New York, Texas, and some other cities. And when I first took the plane up, I said, "Why I gotta always be doing stuff? What made me do this?" And as I started getting close to the towers downtown, I'm like, are you all sure that I should be still going this way?" They were like, "You're doing fine. You're doing fine." But let me tell you what was tired on me. I was tired. I was like, "Okay, let's just put the plane down." I thought I was tired. Because when I got on the ground, I was great. Woo! What was tired on me was my nervous system.
Mm.
We're not tired. We're not old. Our nervous systems get worn.
Mhm.
You're strong. We're stronger than what we were when we were younger. We're not older and weaker. We have wisdom. We have the experiences that we didn't have when we was 20. Our experiences in our 20 are our experiences now.
Mhm. 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 Mhm.
So what we
Absolutely.
whooped in the tail and what we kicked when we were younger, what will make us think at any point of time that we won't kick it now. But you got to put the nervous system at ease. Start with your breathing.
Actually, I use breathing, but I don't have so much now. But friend Catherine Chadwick shared with me how to breathe when I would have heart palpitations. She knows all about the vagus nerve, right, and how to reset my vagus nerve. So it started with thinking, what am I going to do to alleviate this? I'm learning something else, and that is how to breathe to stop the heart palpitations and learning about the vagus nerve. So everything begins with a choice of what you choose to think. Wouldn't you say, Fred?
I think that's wonderful in the sense of you were able to recognize the relationship with a physical activity that
Mhm,
affected the mental mindset and the mental mindset that affected the physical activity.
mhm,
You
mhm,
saw how it works, and that becomes an example to us of what you are saying in your mind, where you are telling yourself the story. If you're going to take the journey of, I'm going to take the journey of healing, you will acquire the healing
Mm.
because
absolutely.
it's rigged in your favor.
Oh, I just thought of something really fun. I think you guys would like. And I don't know why I brought it up. Well, I do know why. So when I first started teaching this work about 20 years ago, one of my clients grew up in Texas with the children next door of Jose Silva. Now, for those of you who don't know who Jose Silva is, He was the father of mind controls, the Silva mind control method. And I believe now that Mind Valley has purchased the Silva material. And I did the certification about 15 years ago. And let me just tell you, so this client of mine grew up, and Jose Silva was a Mexican American, and his children were getting ready to go to school, and he knew things were not in his children's favor. So he created this whole system of stepping into your subconscious mind, okay, and creating through visualization realistic environments, one of which is to heal, which I learned with this. So what happens is I learned how to create a set point in a wall before I learned to do it in humans. I could actually create through visualization what it's like at a certain point in the wall, behind the wall. Okay. And this is how psychics do distance healings. And the last thing we did during this certification was I had to heal someone I didn't know. And all I knew was the woman was 65 years old and she'd been a house cleaner, right? That's what she did. So anyway, what I was supposed to do was scan her body from the inside. So starting with her feet. And of course, she had been cleaning houses. So it was no problem when I said she has a lot of calluses on her feet, but I'm inside her feet. Okay. I am inside her body visually. And I said, oh, she has a lot of calluses on her feet. No big deal, right? I mean, anybody could have calluses. So then I went up her body and I went behind her lungs and her neck. And I said, she is getting over a cold or a lung infection, because I could see the congestion from inside. But again, then anybody could have that, right? So easy to disprove, until I went inside her head, and behind her eyes from the inside, I saw cobwebs, the kind of cobwebs you'd see that they used to use to, when you were a kid and you're out in the woods and you cut yourself, the cobwebs, if you put it on the cut, it bound together the skin, right? And so I saw cobwebs behind this woman's eyes. And when the process was finished, indeed, she had been working for years. She did indeed have a cold or an upper respiratory thing. And this was his aunt, by the way. She had just finished cataract surgery. How would I know that? What did I see? I saw the healing. So there is a lot there. The universe and God gave us gifts that we're still uncovering. And when you can do what I just described to you, there is no limit, right? No limit. Every great thing that was created by man was done without knowing how. Every single one, right? And so what I'm saying to you is that you create your cause in the matter of your life. You are the source. You have the universe as your co-creator. And I believe that God, the universe, energy, however you want to look at it, is already within us in our conscious mind. That is the whisper of the universe. That is intuition. That is when you go to bed at night with a question on your mind or a problem that you've had, and you wake up in the morning and you have the answer. It's the only time the universe can get into your mind, when your fears are sleeping, because they are loud and they are dominant. They will stop you in a heartbeat to do anything new that you want to do. And so the universe is already with us. We're co-creators. everything we do, we create with the universe through alignment to honor Fred's work, through being aligned with the universe and the higher vibration. You can be, do, or have anything you want without violating the rights of others. The end.
The the Reiki, the advanced Reiki can lead into more of the studies in that.
You mean
Afterwards,
Reiki? Reiki? Some people call it Reiki. Reiki? Yeah.
Reiki, yeah, it can lead. It can become more organized through those types of sciences. Now, of course, let's having the quantum understandings as well. So, alignment, it's exactly the same. Whatever you're aligned in is what you're creating in. It is becoming aware of alignment and then directing alignment. When you are somewhere where you do not prefer and you feel that I do not prefer this, that is the universe giving you an opportunity to grow in yourself, grow in your thoughts, grow in your being. That is the universe saying it is time for you to learn it is time for you to change your narrative. Like Leslie is saying, tell yourself another story. Now, in story in the sense of this, paint yourself another reality.
Yes.
So there's a scripture that says that we live in a blueprint. This is a blueprint. If this is the blueprint, we are painting the colors in the blueprint.
Mhm.
We have that much power to where we are sending out messages, signals on different levels. The chances of you having someone like me and Leslie on the same call in this form of a dynamic is very, 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 very rare. So something called, and in the recognition of there is an intelligence that created our intelligence. If we're intelligent and we were created and we have the ability to create, there is an intelligence that is more intelligent than ours. The alignment of recognizing that intelligence is smarter than you, and it is pulling you, not kicking you. You're kicking you because you're being pulled. Don't pull me. Let me become stable. Not in growth. Growth is the stability of growth. You have to move on. When the baby outgrows the cradle, don't get mad at the cradle. And the baby tell the baby don't get mad at the cradle. It is time for evolution.
That's right.
Time for forward growth. And then when you the baby that outgrew the cradle, don't get back in the cradle. It is time for evolution. We can never step back into them other years. We can never do. Why step back into 2018, 2019? Don't even step back into the great years. Oh, these years that were so good for me, gone. Why? Because it's time for something new.
I agree with that. And I feel that.
And then when it's time to outgrow the cradle, don't get mad at the cradle. Don't say it's the situation. It's the growth. Because we can all say, everybody, every last person, all of us, no one is there. Not there. You're not there till you done and you evolved and you done. And you come up out of this form of life. But we're never there. There is the awareness of the continuous growth. And if you come set, how you gonna grow? It don't look the way it used to look. It used to be better than this. I want that again. Absolutely not. Why? Because you were called for something more.
Right.
Absolutely.
And don't get mad at the cradle about how the cradle used to be comfortable. I want my cradle. No, it's time for your house.
It's time to take
It's time for your stability in self, where you recognize it. The more you recognize it, the more you will interpret your reality proper. Not proper. You will interpret your reality based on what you are recognizing within yourself.
Understood.
It is only a reflection based on how we define things.
This has
And
been
telling yourself the stories, giving yourself the new narratives, you start the new thinking patterns. When I started taking the investment licenses, I felt the neurological changes taking place in my head, in my relationship with money. I physically felt them because it was a new thinking process. It was a new, different series, a process. When we have a thought, the brain fires up in sequences. No two people have the same two firing sequences. It's just like fingerprints. But you have so many other neurological connections that needs to be learned how to be fired up. But when you stay in one place, you can't discover the rest of those connections. And the only way you're going to discover them, uncomfortableness. Because it gets so they're uncomfortable, but you don't have to make being uncomfortable your enemy. It becomes your assistant. This is uncomfortable. Why? Because I'm about to come into a new understanding, into a new position, into a new reality that is advancing me, not degrading me.
100. Leslie Flowers, Sensei Fred, I think this has been an amazing conversation.
It has.
Fred, if you want to stay on a little bit, and I know you have a lot to say. Leslie, I remember I told you that we would be done by 5:45.
Yeah, I'm done.
6:00.
I'm done. I want to cook dinner, and it's been a lot of fun. And gosh, thanks everybody for being here. I hope you got a lot of that. You had some, if you inspired with one or two ideas that you take and process. And it was just wonderful being here with Fred. While I could talk forever, I got a show tomorrow morning, and,
Yeah.
and I get to do this Mondays and Fridays at 11 a.m. Eastern. And it's what keeps me young. It really is that I've been teaching this for over 20 years or 18 years. And so, everything I teach, I do. I'll never be perfect, but I will say, and I clean up my messes, most all of them right away. I take responsibility. That's one of my mantras. I'm not perfect at it, but we aspire to higher awareness. We're not perfect, but if you screw up, apologize and move on.
Absolutely.
That's my philosophy. So I don't know how much more. I'm kind of thinking about what I want for dinner. What about you guys?
I get you. I want to say this to everyone out there,
Sure.
and to you, Leslie and Fred. I use myself as an example.
Mm-hmm.
And so my life is great, but I have moments, and I share those moments for conversation, and then to kind of say, hey, I really felt this in this moment. And so I don't want people to take away from this that I'm a mess. I am evolving and becoming, and every day is a new challenge, and I'm taking it 1 minute at a time. Leslie, we're going to go ahead and let you go. Go ahead and cook dinner. Fred, you want to stay for a second? We can close out.
That's fine.
Okay.
Leslie, it is a truly, truly a treat to hear you. I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You're going to continue then? You guys are going to continue talking? All right.
Yeah. We'll go a little bit.
Okay.
We're gonna keep on hammering a little bit, but that was that was a lot.
It
a
was a
lot.
lot. It's a lot,
lot.
and we will find, you and I, Fred, and you too, Bill, that we are pretty tired tonight, because this kind of this thinking
Yeah.
is, while it's stimulating, it takes something to talk this way and banter about and share, what we know. And I found it a very good investment of my time being here today, and I
Thank
really want to
you.
thank you for inviting me and allowing me to share what I love and what Fred loves, and hope it makes a difference for people.
I think it definitely will. I appreciate it.
All right, I'm going to step away. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Leslie.
And we'll see everybody. See you on the boards tomorrow morning on LinkedIn. Here we go.
I will be there.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Hey, Fred. So I know last time you said there was so much that you felt like you didn't get to finalize or finish. And I didn't want to leave you without hearing like how you felt and if you have more to say. And I can sit and listen to you all day long. So
But you are with your statement of what your representation is, and you don't want the people to believe something. You are bringing forward an opportunity for people to be able to possibly hear perspectives that can possibly change their lives.
absolutely.
So it has absolutely nothing to do with, of course, what anyone might think. You have more gratitude, if anything.
Thank you. I
So
appreciate that.
there were and there are pivotal. There are points that needs to be anchored where you understand where everyone understands that it is a thought, a act, and a feeling. I'll give you, since you were kind enough to share about dancing, when you are in a place of I got something right, and if you can conducting an act like dancing
Mm-hmm.
with the thought, the idea of the negative invite only joins the dance where it's there, but I'm the leader. I'm the guide of it. The
Yeah.
negative thought only becomes let me convert it into let me dot my I's and cross my T's, but not worry about it. But if it comes to attack you, uh, did you make your mind up? That's what you got to ask yourself. Did I make my mind up? Because like you can't when the attack becomes a. Are you sure you made your mind up? You sure this is right? When you make your mind up, you make your mind up. How do you make your mind up? Oh, you make your mind up by adding a vibrational feeling to your dancing while you make your mind up. Now you having you having a more of a connection of a mental state, a physical vibration, which goes into the continuations of acts. You also take advantage of the most powerful therapeutic existences in mankind, such as the sun. Sit in the sun and drink plenty of water. Drink plenty of water, sit in the sun, deep breathing. It recalibrates your totality. where you are in more control of what is being done to your nervous system. You become more aware of what is being done to your nervous system. But there's a coat that a lot of us wear. We a lot of us think that we're supposed to be worried in order to make something happen. We're supposed to be boggled down. What I do, I'm about to focus. That's that. When that is extreme, that comes from a coat that was put on us when we were younger. If you want to do something right, you got to be so serious. When you want to dance right, do you have to be really serious, or does it happen? It's
But you know
already
what? But you know what? I've always walked to my own beat. So even as an executive, I've always been the person that would I just dance. I enjoy the work environment. Period. So I think we spend more time working than we do sometimes spend at our own homes. And so I've always believed that we work hard and play hard. I don't take myself too seriously because I'm more looking at the team and making sure that they're okay. I don't ask for raises for myself. I ask for raises for my team. And in turn, I know that I'll be taken care of. I've never worried about money. And I think that's why I always say I don't really believe that I have a lack mindset because I've never been concerned about money. It's always come to me. But right now, I am stressed. But let's talk about Gregory Liverpool real quick, and then you can talk to me about what I just said. Cool? So Gregory said, people don't apologize to others when they're in the wrong. They would gaslight an apology out of you to stroke their egos. Here's what I'm going to say about that, Greg. I feel that strongly. And the reason why I feel that strongly is in my life, I've always felt two things. You don't need to psychoanalyze this, but I've always felt disposable, which means that once people get what they need out of me, that I can be disposed of. But that comes from my childhood, right? If you think about that, Fred, I'm done with him. He can go here, he can go there. And I've always felt like people tend to overstep or maybe step on my toes. And I always end up apologizing for it. And that's getting really, really tiring because I feel like I go above and beyond for everyone around me. And I take relationships very seriously. And I think that sometimes people owe me an apology and they just don't ever step up and do it. They're like, why are you in your feelings? Okay, well, you just, kicked my dog. So yes, I'm in my feelings about it. So yes, Greg, no one ever apologizes to me, ever.
I'm gonna address something, and then I think I'm gonna have to go ahead and get moving a little bit.
Okay, cool.
So, expecting an apology is a waste of time.
Absolutely.
And an apology depending on the relationship is what makes it what it is.
Yeah, so, I mean, don't apologize if you don't know what you did, because then
don't apologize. Don't apologize for the sake of apologizing, right. And don't want an apology because your feelings hurt.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a waste of time. Those are the things that you wind up projecting off of. Somebody did something, they didn't apologize. I did something, I didn't apologize. What's moving the meter to where it is that you want to be in life?
I take accountability for me.
And I think it's fine in context of what the relationship is, but depending on the relationship, if it's because no one's perfect, people are going to make mistakes.
Absolutely.
And I've had to apologize. I apologize to students and everything, but
Do you teach flying? Did you say that?
no, I don't teach flying. I teach martial arts. Um, let's just understand the importance of, even in being aligned, when you understand that what people do to and for others, they do to and for themselves. It's not what a person do to you. Everybody do everything to themselves. Again, in context.
Yeah.
So you wanna be able to make sure that you are not putting yourself in a position in which your nervous system is subjected to somebody else move.
That right there.
Because what you do to and for others, you do to and for yourself. When you start making your apologies and accepting and making an apology is from realization. I realize.
Absolutely. And
I
and
realize.
and
And when you
if I-
apologize, it's really for yourself. So because the other person has an opportunity to accept it or not. But when you are aligned, you already accepted the apology and moved on, because you know that people don't have the realization of it yet.
right. Yeah. So I think apologizing to me just means taking accountability. So if I've said something or done something that has offended somebody, regardless of whether or not it was intentional or not, um, I like to discuss it and say, hey, let's fix this, because let's not hold on to miscommunication,
Mhm.
so that we can move forward together. Because my relationship with you is important to me. I don't know you, but I want to make sure that you're safe. I care about you. I care that you're living right and you're eating right, and that you're leading your abundant life and all the things that you want for yourself. I don't take any relationship as a transaction. I take it as a connection.
Okay. We get to define them.
Yeah.
You put your own universe together. Everybody's in their own existence. And it's about learning that, becoming the master of your own existence, where you recognize yourself as the head and not the tail. That's why the statement about the apology is you're letting someone apologize so that they can resolve things for themselves. If they apologize to you and that's now resolved something for you, you are still giving power to other people.
Got it.
Like, oh, well, this person apologized, so now my life is better. I let this person apologize so that they can move on. Because I've already
Mm,
moved on. Because I understood that they didn't understand.
right.
And then when it's me, okay, I hope they understood that I didn't understand. You
Right. I
know,
get it. 100%. Okay.
yeah. Well, let's wrap this down. In order to practice is the unification of your entire self. You are to have not only a thought, you also to combine that thought into a form of a physical expression, which gives you a feeling. That feeling and that thought is done in an application toward what it is that you're working on. Feel good in your body about it. Feel good in your breathing about it. To start dealing with the invites, focus on your breathing. Even when it comes, and you feel, here's it come, focus on your breathing.
Got it.
And then start directing your internal existence. Start being that God inside. We were created in the image. You're the one in charge in there.
Beautiful.
Okay. Well, I hope we have shared some words, and I hope people were able to experience things that were beneficial. It's very beneficial for me. I appreciate you all and your time.
I appreciate you. Everyone, I have Thursday at 1 p.m. I'm having a show with Paul Thomas and Dr. Cambria about healthcare in America. And Paul Thomas has just gotten back from DC fighting for our health rights. And I appreciate every single one of you. Oh, and my PayPal is at William Rochelle 153, $5, whatever you guys want to donate. It all goes a long way. I appreciate it. And the only reason why I'm saying that is because I recognize that all the big guys out there always say, hey, support my Substack, support this. So support me on PayPal, $5, $10. I appreciate you, Sensei Fred Jordan, and I will see you soon.
Okay. Have a wonderful day. Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Come a little closer. Tell me who you are. Come a little closer. Tell me who you are. Not the face you show the world. Show me where you are. Tell me what you lived through. Tell me how you grew. Show me how the fire came and made a light in you. Will we connect where the real comes through? Where the heart speaks loud and I can feel you. Will we connect? Bring your dream and drive. Bring your truth and grace. Bring your soul alive. 'Cause somebody out here needs the words you say. And somebody out here needs your light today. You can bring your story. You can bring your name. You can bring the side of you that rose above the pain. Every scar can teach us. Every loss can lead. What you thought was just survival might be what I need. Or will we connect where the real comes through? Where the heart speaks loud and I can feel you. Will we connect? Bring your dream and drive. Bring your truth and grace. Bring your soul alive. Somebody out here needs the words you say. Oh, somebody out here needs your light today. Maybe your story is the reason I was meant to stay. Maybe what you made it through brought you right my way. So step into the moment, let me see what is true. Not just what you built in life, but what life built in you.